so that there might be a co-sponsored talk about justice and meditation by student groups. So if you can find 3 student groups to say, let's have an evening's conversation with student meditators. It doesn't always have to be those of us who have long careers, as you said, Kate. So I think, Jane, those kinds of things. And then I have to tell you, you just heard my journey. It's not like I was doing this my whole life, so I'm really impressed that you young ones are here, you old ones, I figure, we do these things eventually, I hope. But, so I don't know if everybody is ready for this. Having the meditation center on campus, I think, is an awesome physical embodiment of this is important. Getting more people there. Are you on this first year tours? When people do those blue and gray, and over here you can find that, and over there is there somebody who says, this is the meditation center? If not, we need to get into the blue and gray tours and get them to have this on the tours. Those would be ideas. How about the rest of your thoughts on how we make it so that students would go, well, of course I meditate. I'm doing that. Yes?
My name is Robert Drucker. I guess there's one thing that's not clear to me yet. It's your 2 sides of a coin image. That is, I see how the experience of meditation leads to, as was said, to experience of deeper meaning in things, be more attentive to things, and how it can be very helpful and all but necessary for someone engaged in the struggle for social justice. So there, it has intrinsic effects on anyone's experience, and it's a means for someone engaged in the struggle for social justice. But I was wondering, that's not quite 2 sides of the same coin, it seems to me. I wondered if you were claiming that the experience of meditation leads one not just in one's daily life to treat others differently, to experience things differently and more deeply, but leads one to get engaged in the struggle for justice, not just I treat others differently, experience them differently. That would seem to me closer to being 2 sides.
I like that.
Yeah.
What my 2 sides were, I was trying to say that for me, I don't believe there's one without the other. I don't believe I'm a Catholic Christian, just so we get the name of it out here. So for me, you cannot not do justice. It's the call. That's why I read the Mike, it's the call. But it's got to be rooted in meditation. To do just meditation is to deny this side, which is to me the other side of the coin. You can't meditate, otherwise you become solipsistic, narcissistic, I don't know what other words you want to use, about me. But the faith calls me to love God and my neighbor, to do justice in the world and to walk humbly with God. So to me, that's the 2 sides. I can't understand my faith without the call to both sides of the coin. But I like your image too, what you were suggesting. I think that's a nice way another way of getting at an image. Did that help clarify my side? How I see the 2 sides?
It sounded, what I heard there was, from your faith you see the necessity really of engaging in the struggle, and
yes.
Meditation really enables you to do that effectively, but the desire or need for engaging in the struggle doesn't spring forth from your meditative experience. It springs from who you were before you meditated. And that's something you want to hold on to, and meditation is absolutely essential for that.
I think you're deeper than I am. I have to think about this a little bit. So I'll try one more time, because this is good. My understanding of faith, and we'll just say the Catholic Christian faith, my understanding is that we are called to walk with God. We are called to love God. And the way we love God is by loving our neighbor. There is no other way. I only experience God in those around me. So that my walking with God is walking with my neighbor. And if my neighbor is broken, if the system breaks my neighbor, I can't walk with God if I'm not walking with my neighbor. So while in temporal terms, I obviously said to you, I meditate in the morning for a half hour. I do, I set aside time. No, not every day, and when I travel, I get a little bollocksed up, and I don't want to claim more than I am, but you already know I don't do it in the evening, so that's over. But if I don't, so that I have to take those moments, and I talked about my mini meditations of mindfulness during the day. So there are conscious moments when I pause. Really, sometimes when the bell rings, I did learn this from Thich Nhat Hanh, and when I wash my hands, sometimes I actually think about it washing my hands instead of I've got to get to that next meeting. So I try those moments. The justice moments are also like that because I'm a human being and whatever. So when I'm teaching, now I'm not meditating while I'm talking with you. We could pause. I was so grateful Jane did that because I thought about starting out with a moment of silence because that would exactly present the essentiality for me, but you just stole my thunder, so which was good. It just goes to show you. So when I'm doing justice, I'm not always thinking about meditation, but I would pick up on Sergi's comment that I'm doing justice now, the tender age I'm at, in ways that I didn't do it when I was 20. And I was quite sure I knew everything. And you were not on the right side if you weren't with me, and what was your problem? Okay, I actually have grown up a little bit. It's really quite exciting to me. So there are moments, but the attempt for me is that they be more and more integrated so that my living out my call to justice is deeper because of my meditation. My meditation is richer because of my justice, so that they become those two sides. Yes, pink lady.
I wonder, you obviously, your faith came first before your meditation practice. Do you think that if somebody had no faith, if they come from an atheistic background, but if they do start meditating, is it your impression that that would draw you towards social justice?
Yes, I do. And I wish I could point to you to real examples beyond a couple that I personally know, where it has nothing, they simply aren't in a God world. It doesn't make sense to them. That's why I quoted the UDHR, because I've had any number of students over the years for whom faith is not given or not interesting or whatever you want to say. They simply aren't. They would say they're agnostic, maybe atheistic, they're not even sure, but are absolutely committed to social justice and who are rooted in meditation. And this is where you don't have to be Christian to do meditation. Clearly, we know this, and I learned tons from the Buddhist monk writing. I love Thich Nhat Hanh. If you haven't had a chance to read any of him, just pick up any of his books, and it will deepen your own sense of meditation. So I do believe that I shouldn't say it will. It can lead to social justice because there are traditions in which, even in our tradition, people go to monasteries and their whole life is a life of prayer, commitment to prayer, and I think I'm just not called to that, obviously. So I better qualify and say that I do believe people who have no faith, humanism, deep humanism, with meditation can indeed come to this. And in fact, even without meditation they can. But I think personally, judgmental, I think it'd be richer. And I know some people for whom meditation is an everyday occurrence and aren't into the faith world, but are into the world isn't good enough and they feel called to try to contribute to a more just world. And I say it's one of the images I have at the center. The center is called the Center for Social Justice, Research, Teaching, and Service. And people early on said, well, how do you define social justice? And I said, we don't. Because when you define something, then people can say, oh, I don't go with that definition. Shh, I'm out of here. I have a round table in my office. That's the image. Come to the table. You bring your perspective. We're interested in doing this work. And however you conceive of it, however you are motivated to do it, let's talk about this work and how we might collect.